Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com.
And I'm Bob. Happy Friday.
Welcome back to our Top 5 Friday ski industry news videos. Just a couple things to talk about before we get right into the news. We've got another comparison wall behind us here. We actually just finished filming this one, an hour and a half ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. Just enough time to have some lunch and get back in here. This is mid 90 millimeter freeride skis is how we're labeling it. And then we'll follow this one up with mid 90s all mountain. Then we will do 100 millimeter freeride. Then we'll do 100 millimeter all mountain. And then we will have covered everything that we're going to cover from 90-ish to mid 100-ish.
Yeah, I think 107 was what we topped out on in our previous one.
Yeah.
So we've gone 87 to 107, I think, so far. Or we will have with the next wall.
Yeah. And then after that, we'll see. I'd like to go narrower for a bit, I think.
I would too.
And you know what I'd really like doing? I like doing the mid 80 grouping, least expensive to most expensive.
Because there's a big variance in shoppers there.
And a big
cost.
variance in prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, what's the variance in price on this wall?
A couple $100.
Yeah, where like the mid 80, it's like 1,000, over 1,000 from one end to the other. So I thought that would be fun. And then obviously we've got more. The 110-ish range is pretty fun. There's a lot of skis, a lot of good skis in that category. Then we'll do a even bigger one. We'll go to big powder skis.
As big as we got, yeah.
Yep, and then we'll go pretty narrow too. And then from there we can get into kind of some fringy things if we want to. We could do touring skis.
Yep. You always talk about revisiting twin tips of certain.
I know. Well, we've done
certain widths.
We've done it in a few different ways in the past, and
yep.
We'll see. I'd be cool with doing I don't know how we would phrase it, but some sort of twin tip highlight, and we could decide what we want to put in there.
Yep.
The 20 best. That people love that word. I hate that word, but maybe we'll succumb to the pressure.
Yeah.
We could do a draft, a twin tip draft.
Oh, that would be fun.
Right? Never really done that before. Anyways, so look out for this one next week, and then there'll be more to come after that. And then the only other thing I wanted to talk about is our new gear finder. So a lot of the things that we do here at Ski Essentials are intended to make it as easy as possible to choose the right skis for you, really matching certain skier types to certain skis, and we really try hard to do that. I think it's somewhat fair to say that no one else, I don't know, I can't think of any other shops or outlets who have really gone into it as headstrong and in depth as we have.
Well, we have a lot of points of contact already.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's certainly what helps people find what they're looking for. And, this is another one.
Yeah, so we have a lot of stuff. Our individual ski reviews, our ski test, these ski comparisons, they all hold a lot of information that hopefully makes it easier to choose what's right for you. We also understand that it can still be pretty confusing. So what we did is we put together a questionnaire or a form that you complete. It's not groundbreaking technology here, but
it's effective.
We have been working on it for a while. We started working on this way back in the spring, kind of starting with our customer service team and asking them, you interact with a lot of skiers and snowboarders as well. What pieces of information do you need to be able to make the best recommendations? And then we've kind of built it out from there. There's some fun video content to go along with it. And basically you fill out this form, should take 5 to 7 minutes. All the information is then presented to one of our customer service representatives. It's fair, right?
So yeah, they represent the customers.
Yeah. And then they will go through all of your information and reach out to you and recommend skis. So I know that there have been other things that are similar, but I do think ours is a little bit different, and I think there's a little bit more of a human element to it. You won't get immediate results. It's not AI driven. It's not like
a filter.
it's not filtering down
Yeah.
a big database of skis. It's literally giving somebody like both qualitative and quantitative information that they can then take and make our human recommendations for. I've never liked the filter down. I want a Blizzard that's an all mountain ski it's just like I don't like doesn't get you anywhere.
Well,
It gets you
there.
somewhere,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
You need to know where you want to get if
Right.
you're going to do it that way.
Yeah.
So check that out. It's like kind of all over our website. We're still integrating it in more places. You'll see it as like actually embedded onto the page itself. And then there's little like clickable side things on a lot of pages, on the home page, on the ski test and elsewhere too, where you click on it and it pops up on the side. There's also a full gear finder page.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
I mean, you will get a response. This isn't like,
Yep.
I'm curious and wonder what would work. Like, you will get a response from a person.
Yeah.
Like, that will happen.
Yeah. In fact, when we first it's been live for a little over a week, I want to say. And I actually saw my mom a couple days after we put it up, and she was like, I'm not buying any skis, but I thought I would do it anyways. And then I realized that this was going to be a real person, so I stopped. And I was like, thanks.
I actually did the same thing. I got about halfway through, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Someone's gonna, yeah. So, it's okay if you're not like immediately ready to purchase, but I would at least hope that you are genuinely interested in what our recommendations would be. So, anything else, Bob, or you want to do news?
Let's do news.
All right. On to the news. Got a couple big topics this week, and then luckily it fades into some easier topics. First topic of the week, the U.S. ski and snowboard team president wants to add surfing to the team roster.
Surfing, Jeff? How does that work?
I don't know, really, Bob, but let's talk about it. So this has actually been out for a while. It was much, much bigger news in the surf community. The news broke back in April. I will admit that this is the first time that I have heard about it.
Same.
So Sophie Goldschmidt is the current U.S. ski and snowboard team president. A little background on Sophie Goldschmidt. She was the CEO of the World Surfing League for 4 years. I can't remember when it ended.
I believe she went from surfing to the ski team. I could be wrong, but
I don't remember exactly. It was very recently. Wikipedia describes her as a British business executive, so I thought I would add that piece of information. And some more background on Sophie Goldschmidt. She has worked at Adidas, the Women's Tennis Association, the NBA, Rugby Football Union, and the PGA, which is very interesting, and I'm just fascinated by like this career path in general now that I start thinking about it.
I mean, it's a real kind of shotgun spread of sports.
Like she's an expert at running organizations.
Sports organizations.
But it doesn't matter what the sport is.
Does not seem to matter.
And that's very interesting to me. I would feel very comfortable running a ski-based organization. I would not feel comfortable running a tennis-based organization.
Yeah.
Even if I found myself good with organizational skills. So it's just it's very interesting for me from my perspective. So anyways, back to the surfing part. Since 2021, U.S. surfers have operated without a national governing board. Previously, it was USA Surfing. I don't exactly remember what the reason was why they left U.S. surfing.
Yeah.
But anyways, they have been without a governing body or a governing board. The U.S. Olympic Committee needs to have one as they go into the Olympics, and they kind of started the process of finding a governing body. And the U.S. ski and snowboard team submitted a bid, which was apparently kind of surprising.
To absorb surfing.
USA Surfing. Yep.
USA Surfing is not a governing body?
Sorry, no. To absorb surfers based in the United States.
Okay.
Not absorb USA Surfing.
Gotcha.
Surfers, according to reports that I have read, are largely in favor of their governing body being USA Surfing again. It sounds like surfers are quite concerned.
Yeah.
And there are some interesting quotes that she's like, no, this is the same. We run action sports stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's just interesting to me.
Well, in one way, it expands the to a year-round program.
Sure.
Right? So if you think about
Yeah,
skiing
sure.
and snowboarding being in the Winter Olympics, and then surfing could be
Yeah.
in the summer. And we've always talked about, you're a whitewater kayaker, the similarities between skiing and kayaking.
The complementary
Right.
activities.
The chemical medium is
The water.
the water is the snow,
I
the
got it.
trail is the river,
Yep.
the boat is your skis. So there's a lot of similarities, if we look at snowboarding specifically
Yeah.
compared to surfing. Sure, you could apply those same theories to that, and you could make an argument to me that absorbing the surfing sport into that makes sense. But
I mean, when you approach it from that angle, then it would make sense if you just took it to a grand scale and made U.S. action sports team, and then also absorbed skateboarding, BMX,
right,
everything else.
yeah.
Then it would start to make more sense to me.
Well, they're starting here because they are seemingly without a home.
Yeah, no, you're making great arguments. I didn't expect that. Yeah, you're presenting great arguments.
Yeah, what's the difference? The water's frozen or it's not frozen?
Yeah, I think you're probably mildly insulting both snowboarders and surfers.
Yes.
Right now.
That was my goal.
Okay. Well, regardless, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think Sophie Goldschmidt's background is interesting, even if that's my biggest takeaway from it. So, we'll see. I'm sure we'll hear more about it.
Yeah. Good luck to all parties involved.
Yeah. I'd say especially the surfers.
In the was it the first time in the Olympics last year?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But it was
2024.
wasn't
right?
it like on a different continent or country or something?
I think
It was
so.
like somewhere else.
I remember it I remember it being on at wildly different times.
Yeah.
It was very confusing. Anyways, interesting. This next one's pretty interesting as well. Second topic of the week. There are some tensions in Steamboat between Altera and regional municipalities. Just over a year ago, Steamboat Ski and Resort Corporation pledged $1 million a year for the next 20 years to a proposed regional transportation authority. This has been years in the making. It includes 5 municipalities from surrounding towns, but they still needed to secure public votes. So it's set to be voted on in November. Basically, the Regional Transportation Authority, or what we're going to call the RTA from henceforth, has been trying to win over the public, as you do, lobby for the things that you want to happen. And the biggest concern that the public has had is the cost, how much of my tax dollars are going to this. And they have largely been citing that $20 million pledge over 20 years. And a few weeks ago, Steamboat rescinded their commitment to just $1 million for 1 year today is the deadline for the RTA to submit their final language for this ballot item. So yeah, some uncertainty.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that live in that area really depend on that transportation, and
Especially from town to
and
town.
visitors as well.
Yeah, and this part's interesting too. And my understanding is this transportation organization does not go outside of Steamboat. I could be wrong. So just 12 hours before rescinding that pledge, they made another pledge of $2.75 million annually to Steamboat Springs Transportation. Although this is kind of an offset or in place of what was a lift ticket tax. So it's essentially just funding the same thing in a different way. And Steamboat did say specifically that rescinding their offer or their pledge to the RTA had nothing to do with this.
Seems like these bigger companies do anything to avoid paying tax.
I mean, I suppose I understand that I'm pointing to where I put that note, but I understand the changing from a lift ticket tax to a fixed amount, because that's like arguably easier to financially plan for. But I mean, you could argue the other way too, I suppose, but I don't know. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the vote's going to go over it. I mean, I don't know that much about it, but all of a sudden, if taxpayers are responsible for $1 million a year cost,
Right.
that's not nothing. What's the population of Steamboat?
I mean, year round, I don't know, but there's a lot of development there.
That's true. Yeah.
But it just shows the need for good public transit in areas like that.
Totally. Yeah. Otherwise, like these big ski areas really can't function.
Well, there's just
it's an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, nowhere to put all these cars.
Housing, yeah.
There's nowhere to put all these cars. Like if everyone there shows up with
their own
one
car.
or more car, there's nowhere to put them.
Yeah. Yeah. Except for at like Copper.
Ample parking.
A lot of room to put cars. And some other places too. So another interesting one. I'm sure we'll find out more soon. I guess probably not until November.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty interesting. Moving on, Bob. Third topic of the week, the Colorado Supreme Court finds Crested Butte 75% responsible in a recent lawsuit. This is kind of an ongoing liability conversation that we've been having. I feel like it's been coming up a lot over the past 2 or 3 years. In this case, Annie Miller was awarded $20 million in 2022 at age 16 on a trip with her Oklahoma-based church group. She had trouble getting on the Palisades Express lift. Lift attendants didn't notice. She couldn't pull herself up onto the lift, and she ultimately fell 30 feet onto hardpack, which ultimately left her paralyzed, which is very sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
It's one of my biggest fears, falling off a chairlift.
Yeah.
It's scary. I lean back.
It was my biggest fear until I had kids, and now it's my biggest fear that they will fall off.
They'll fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can certainly understand that. She originally sued in 2022. The judge ultimately, the judge ended up throwing out the case, citing the liability waiver that she signed. It then went through an appeals process, and the Supreme Court ruled that the liability waiver didn't protect the ski area from what they consider illegal acts of negligence.
Yeah.
That they need to reach certain safety standards in order for that waiver to work.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with that. There shouldn't just be blanket coverage and be like, nope, we are excused from any wrongdoing, whether it's our fault or not. Like, just a blanket waiver like that just can't exist.
It is interesting that they like a legal court put numeric values on it, because they basically said that she was 25% responsible because she signed this liability waiver.
Well, the thing that we have been talking about, the Idaho one, where I think it was the Idaho one where someone hit a snow gun, or I forget. But one of the rulings was it's now being taken case by case. So the jury or the court hears the specifics,
Yeah.
and then can rule on that.
Decides off.
So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can actually see, like, yeah, this is 25% your fault. You
Yeah.
didn't adhere to
Yeah.
this, whatever the responsibility code thing is, that you have to know how to
Load a chairlift. Yeah.
You know, like, you made a mistake, but the company also didn't do their part. They didn't.
Yeah, which kind of like makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like lift attendants should be making sure that everyone gets on the lift.
Yeah. But then a
Like
jury has to decide.
The stop button stops it pretty quickly.
But a jury then has to decide at what point does that break happen.
Right.
So you get your bar down, you're good, you're going up. What's to stop you from opening the bar and falling off and being like, they didn't stop me, I'm halfway up the mountain.
Right.
So there has to be some type of case by case.
Well, in this case, they
thing there.
determined that it was a 75-25 split.
Yep.
It's pretty interesting.
They're big, scary machines. Like,
Yeah,
like anyone that works
chairlift's
on like
terrifying.
lift mechanics is like, there's a lot going on in these
Yeah.
things.
The weight.
Yeah.
I don't think people appreciate the weight.
The weight, the power. I mean, they're legit.
Yeah. Massive pieces of engineering.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll talk more about ski resort liability, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because it's not my favorite topic at all. Fourth topic of the week is my favorite topic. Taos in New Mexico was the first North American resort to report snowfall.
A great representative out of the Southwest.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for them.
I've never been there. Have you?
Nope.
Do you think Justin watches our program?
I hope so.
I do too. One of our former coworkers moved out to Taos, and
He seems to really enjoy it. I'm happy for him.
Haven't heard from him since. Having a great time out there. So pretty cool. It's always exciting when we get our first reports of snow. And then finally, here we have our edits of the week. First up, we have Line Traveling Circus, Season 18, Episode 1. Still, it's just wild that it's been 18 years. I know I say that every year when they start their series, and I've probably said this several times too, but many of the Traveling Circus members are good friends of mine. Probably specifically Mr. Will Wesson. We go back a long time. And then second edit of the week, we've got the trailer for Warren Miller Entertainment's Snow-Society, SNO-Society.
Yeah, I think you got that right.
Snow-Society, yeah. And then we talked about weather, 2 weeks ago? Last week? I don't remember. But we've got another, I wasn't here last week. These weeks are really blurring together. But we've got another weather prediction, this time from Ryan Hall on YouTube. And then last edit of the week is an hour and a half of basically raw ASMR powder skiing footage from Dan Noakes.
You were here last week.
Last week I was? What did we do last week?
I don't know. We had skis behind us, though.
Did we talk about weather?
I don't think we talked about weather last week.
So I was in Maine 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
This time of year is hectic and confusing. A lot going on. So, anyways, that's it. You got anything else to report, Bob?
That's it.
Okay. Well, look out for this comparison next week. And then, like I said, we'll be moving on to mid-90 all mountain and then through the rest.
Onward from there, yeah.
Yep. So, hope everyone has a fantastic weekend, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.